right, guys. Phenomenal morning. Phenomenal morning. I had to give people time to come in. We had to give some people time to come in. It's Saturday morning, guys. Remember, we used to wake up early in the morning and get the cocoa, whatever the case, and watch the Saturday morning cartoons, man.
Yeah.
I miss that stuff, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I miss that stuff. I used to get so it was cold in New York. Like, it's cold. Like, it's freezing sometimes. And we used to grab the covers and put the covers over the heater because they had this grate, right? So the grate was in the floor and the heat would come up and I would go get my covers and put the covers over the grate and be there smothered under the covers with the cup of cocoa with the steam and the heat coming up and just be like, oh man, this is warm. All right, guys. So anyway, I'm just nostalgic, man. It's Saturday morning. I'm glad that you guys are here. I feel blessed and treasured, right? Like it's a treasure to be able to share with people. There's a lot of people where I come from that are either no longer with us or no longer able to share. So we always have to be grateful, always have to be mindful. That's how I'm gonna open up, man, with gratitude and mindfulness. Phenomenal morning. How's everybody doing?
Yes, sir. Phenomenal morning. I think gratitude is definitely the way to be. In fact, just this morning I was listening to this new audiobook, more along the lines of philosophy, right? It's by a guy called Neville Goddard. So if any of you know about Neville Goddard, then he's absolutely amazing in the way that he sort of dissects different subjects. And he was talking about the power of gratitude and how gratitude brings you a little closer to God, essentially. So
Mm,
asking for things and then basically being thankful for already having received them is a way to attract those things into your life. And I think gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. So definitely gratitude is an awesome way to start the day.
let's
100%.
go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What say ye, Bobby? How you doing, brother? Phenomenal morning.
Phenomenal morning. I'm doing phenomenally. And when I think about gratitude, I just think about all of the perspectives that we can have in life. We can look at things. I was watching something yesterday that said, when you say you have to do something versus you get to do something, your body and mind respond differently. So he was saying that instead of telling himself, I have to go to the gym today, he tells himself, I get to go to the gym today, which was kind of in alignment with what you were saying earlier. Like, it's a treasure for me to share. Not too many people have this opportunity. So I think that gratitude, when exercised genuinely, and the reason I want to add this is because I'm a music fan, and there was this one line by Kendrick Lamar that I always thought was pretty interesting, and it was about fake humility. He said, I can't be fake humble because you insecure. And one of
Right.
those that made me think about being fake genuine, or excuse me, fake gratitude. It's one thing to kind of say with the mouth that, hey, I appreciate you doing that for me. But it's another thing to shift your perspective and mental state into one of humility and absolute gratitude. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Phenomenal morning. We got Keisha, Michelle D. Clark. We got Olivia on LinkedIn. Guys, we are live everywhere. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, even Twitter. Even Twitter, right? And StreamYard, come on, help the people out on IG. You know, this is Sean Wright E saying, help the people out on IG. Give us the ability to go ahead and stream on IG. I'm gonna start putting my phone up. I'm gonna start just putting my phone up in front of me and going live on IG like we used to as well. We got to be mindful of the blessings that we have. And on the note of gratitude, right? On the note of gratitude, are you grateful? Like, are you earning it? Does it look like you're grateful for? So we're given the body, right? Just real basic fundamental stuff this morning. I don't want to go too deep. We got the brand challenge coming up. We're gonna go real deep into the brand challenge after this. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and throw up one of those banners, man, because trust me, it's been super beautiful on the other side, working with the people inside of the challenge for the last yesterday. It was unbelievable. The VIP was unbelievable. People already getting their stuff right. I just want to make sure that this is right. Okay, great. So we good. You know, oh, Nope, not gonna be able to do it that way. Let me do it like this. We're gonna make it just so everybody's aware, right? Like you gotta be aware of tech. Like I swear to you, if you're not onto tech, like if you don't know what you're doing, then you're gonna be crushed, right? So boom, there it is, right? If you don't lock in on tech to some degree, you're gonna be out of here. Like because IT is not even the wave of the present. IT is past tense, so everybody's aware. IT is past tense. It's AI now. You know, we go into BrandU. I logged into BrandU the other day. That's our learning platform for those of you who don't know. And we set it up 5 years ago. We set it up 5 years ago, Bobby. And in the intro video, I'm talking about AI and AI being the wave of the future. You know, and I hadn't watched the intro video for a long time, and it just hit me. I'm like, wow, I said that 5 years ago. I said that 5 years ago, and here we are, and AI is everything. And you can't have a conversation about marketing without hearing ChatGPT. You can't have it, right? So, and because I was grateful and mindful, then I read a lot. So I like what Junior said about reading, because if you have a brain, if you're blessed to have cognition, if you're blessed to have cognitive thought, if you were blessed to be born with the brain that works, and you're not reading consistently, then are you grateful? If you're not learning consistently, are you grateful? If you're blessed to have all of your extensions and all of your digits and you're not exercising, you're not doing something to physically sweat and, you know, refine and make that body whole, are you grateful? Are you mindful of all of those who have lesser opportunities? Lesser opportunities. Somebody hit me early this morning and was like, Sean, are you still doing the Breakfast with the Brand this morning? I said, what do you mean? They said, well, you're doing a challenge at 9 o'clock. So are you going to do the Breakfast with the Brand? I said, of course I am. Look at all the people waiting for us to do the Breakfast with the Brand. How I'm not going to do the Breakfast with the Brand because I'm doing a challenge. They said, you know, well, you know, you got people, you like Bobby and Junior can hold it down. I said, I know they can, and that's a blessing. But if I'm not in the sky or otherwise preoccupied, I'm grateful and mindful. So I'll be present.
Wow, that's a you know, Sean, that's really a way to start it off. You said so many things there. You know, just to be able to unpack that. I mean, gratitude is an amazing thing once again, but you also spoke about AI and marketing. You know, I've been sort of experimenting with AI for a little while, and you know, my experience is I don't think AI will necessarily replace marketers, but I think the people that understand AI will replace those that don't. So if you don't understand AI, or if you don't understand how to use it, then you're in trouble. You're in a lot of trouble, because the people who actually know what they're doing, once they get a hold of that technology, it's a whole different game. Trust me, it just speeds things up. It doesn't necessarily replace as yet, but it definitely speeds things up. So guys, if you're not tapped into AI, you definitely want to do that. There's no reason why you shouldn't. I haven't seen any reason why you necessarily shouldn't do it. It's here. It's already upon us. You know, it's out of the genie's out of the bottle, Sean. Like people just have to sort of, you know, just adapt to it and just learn and just grow. Like
That's amazing.
it's already becoming almost like old news. You know, it's already becoming like ChatGPT is like old news. So if you still haven't dug into it, then I don't know what to tell you. Like you might be in trouble if you haven't dug into it.
Yeah. I would say I remember studying this stuff in a class, and I can't remember what course I was taking, but we call it the hypercycle. So the hypercycle is, or not hypercycle, hype cycle, the hype cycle. So in business, there is a cycle where new technology is introduced to the world, so to speak, in different places at different times. And on a hype cycle, you can have, okay, we think this product will be good. We think it could help us out. And then I'm looking to find it so I can give it to you guys. Okay, here it is. The 5 phases of the hype cycle is the innovation trigger, peak of inflated expectations, trough of disillusionment, slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity. So what each of these sections means and why AI is so interesting is that in the innovation trigger, let's say that was years ago. Innovation trigger means that at one point in time, a group of individuals said, we need to disrupt what is currently taking place so that we can do something more efficient. So then they found that that's the trigger, like disruption. We're doing things with computers and we're just not moving fast enough. So boom, that happened. Then someone coins the word artificial intelligence, but no one really knows what it is. And then it goes to this peak of inflated expectations. And that's where we are kind of moving out of and into the trough of disillusionment. So in the peak of inflated expectations, what happens is that there are so many expectations for what AI could do. That's when people are like, it's gonna take over the world. It's gonna steal your
Terminator,
life.
right? Genesis.
Genesis, all of this stuff, that's called peak of inflated expectations. Like there's things that it's just not going to be able to do because our imagination runs wild. And it's been happened so many times, it's actually in the cycle. Then after it, we hit to the stage that we're in right now, which is the trough of disillusionment. And that's when everybody's kind of, like Junior said, trying to figure out what is it really going to be able to do and what is it not going to be able to do. And if you're watching this right now, I want you guys to know that if you're in the stage of disillusionment, those that get out of the, how can I say, break out of the disillusion the soonest are able to leverage the slope of enlightenment the best. And that's where we're headed. So here, when we say read, get yourself in tune, figure things out, Junior saying, hey, don't be afraid of it, tap into it. What we're really saying is that as the whole industry, world, so to speak, is moving through the trough of disillusionment, those that can get undelusional, I don't know the right word to reverse that,
That's
but
right.
that are not delusioned are the individuals that can maximize the slope of enlightenment. And then lastly, the plateau of productivity is that sweet spot where if you did everything you were supposed to do during the slope of enlightenment, you create a monopoly in the plateau of productivity because it kind of plateaus and no one is really getting too much more out of it. So you want to have allocated enough resources in your industry and business to maximize or exercise a monopoly over AI in your area or asset.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think we got deep in the morning. I think we got deep real early. Bobby just took everybody out to the deep end and just pushed them in like mercilessly. I love it. I love it. Let's go. He is such a genius, guys. We're going to take a break so you guys can go get some water, throw some water on your face and decompress from everything Bobby just gave you. Let's grow. We'll be right back. The link is on the bottom. Tap into that. Tap into the challenge. We'll see you in 2 seconds. Let's grow. I said Sean Rye East. I'm proud. I said Sean Rye East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you like how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right. So let me give a little bit of voice to what Bobby's talking about in case anybody's on the ropes or on the fringes and not really understanding. Let me show it to you in real time. I'm gonna give you two examples. First example was 2020, very beginning. Everybody had plans. Like everybody wrote down their, New Year's resolutions and had their stuff set up and what they were going to do. They had a plan. And then boom, COVID drops. And everybody's like, I don't know, plans on hold, shut it down. Let's get quiet. Let's see what happens. Everybody was basically pressed pause. We did not. We pressed fast forward. See, I read enough to know history, and history repeats itself over and over again. And I had faith and gratitude to the point where it was like, okay, if this is over, like if this is the point, if this is the end, then how am I going to respond and be remembered? See, a lot of times people are too self-centered to take advantage of things because they're going to look funny in the beginning. Like AI, you're going to look funny in the beginning. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to look lackadaisical. You're going to look funny. People are going to laugh at you. So when I went live during COVID and everybody was like, what are you doing? Why are you moving? Why are you outside? Why are you shooting videos? Why are you and Jason in the park? Like, what are you doing? Sean, don't you know it's dangerous? Don't you know it's And I'm like, yeah, I hear what everybody's saying, but I have a vision down the block and around the corner of when things clear up. Like that's where I exist. I don't exist here. I live somewhere 10 years in the future. I respond to what happens in the present. I'm presently aware of it. I know what's going on, but my mind is in the future. So I'm living for the future. So I was pushing people towards a future in which we were back we were back outside. And everybody else was living in the present where they were under the bed and like putting masks on and hold on, like, shh, I don't know what's going to go on. And because we were not disillusioned, here we are. Here we are. Like literally the influencers parted like the Red Sea, and we were able to walk straight through without resistance. That's example number one. Example number two is branding. I was speaking to somebody yesterday about branding and being first one to the spot and how people might feel intrepidation with something new. Like you got something new, you got something fresh, you got something unique, you got something people aren't used to, you got something strange. When I said branding, people looked at me again like, what do you mean? I don't understand. But it's history repeating itself because when I first said coaching 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people were like, coaching what? You coach basketball? And I'm like, no, executive coaching for business and helping people go to the next level, actually for leaders. And they were just like stuck then. And I continued pressing with my vision and massive success. So when I went live and saw the success that I did and the response that I did, I began to look at the people and say, what is the need here? The need was not education, experience, and expertise. You had that. You had the education, the experience, and expertise. What was needed was branding and a personal brand that set you apart from everybody else. So we came out with Branded Like a Leader, and you guys started hearing Sean Raiz talk about something you had never heard of before. And people looked at me strange again. Like I was talking about AI 5 years ago. When I said branding and branded like a leader and personal brand, people were like, huh? Now when you go, now it's like soup to nuts. Now it's on every corner. Everybody's talking about branding, right? But there's something blessed about being the first one to the spot. There's something blessed about being an originator, an innovator, and a differentiator. So stimulate your mind and don't be afraid when you get a new idea. That's God giving you an opportunity to set yourself apart.
You know, Sean, there's so much wisdom in that. And I can remember just looking at different platforms. Facebook is an example. Facebook is well known for just doing new stuff, like just random stuff that just throw people off, completely off. So you could log into Facebook tomorrow and then the whole setup is different. So I can remember, I think it was sometime during the last pandemic where we logged into Facebook and it was completely different, and people were talking about, oh, I'm gonna log off this platform, I'm gonna not use it anymore. But these big tech companies, you have to understand that they understand human behavior. So they understand that first people will hate it, then they might, reject it. But eventually, as they start to roll it over and over and over, then it becomes something that people just adhere to naturally. So if you had to ask me, what did the timeline look like a year ago? I have no clue. I only know what it looks like right now. Now, you mentioned something, the power of being first. And while you were speaking of that, a Dan Kennedy speech came to mind where he was talking about being first when it comes to marketing. And he was talking and saying that, it's very easy to be an originator. It's very easy to be first and to be the number one in a market if you create that market. So we often say that there are riches inside of niches.
That's right.
So I'll give you an example to anybody looking. Let's say you sell vacuum cleaners as an example. Well, you could just be a regular vacuum cleaner distributor or seller, or you could be the number one vacuum cleaner seller in America for just the niche, like some specific niche, like whether it be people with disabilities, whether it be, whatever, just insert the niche.
Housewives, I've got it.
You
Yes,
could
sir.
be a number one vacuum cleaner seller for housewives in Atlanta, something like that. As long as you create the niche, you could be the number one. And there are people that actually use that in their marketing message. So I found that very interesting when you say that. So I just wanted to put that out there. But also speaking to what Bobby said earlier, the importance of cycles. And Bobby, while you were speaking, actually Ray Dalio came to mind. Ray Dalio put out a video where he was talking about the economy, and he was talking about how his investment strategies have sort of helped him to make billions of dollars over time. And it's all about the power of anticipation, right? So he who doesn't understand history is deemed or destined to repeat it. So if you understand what happened before, you could pretty much predict what's going to happen today or tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
So that being said, everything is a cycle. The economy is a cycle. We have seen similar things with what happened with COVID, but maybe not the actual COVID itself, but the human behavior towards it.
Definitely.
So an intelligent person who is looking at the past can analyze where they are in the situation and sort of almost predict, not 100%, but very, very likely what is going to happen in the future and how they can position themselves. So to the audience looking, I just want to ask you, where are you in this cycle? Have you analyzed where you are in this cycle, in this space and in this time? Look at AI, Sean. Remember the internet back in the day when the internet just came? People were talking about all kinds of stuff about the internet. Oh, it's from the devil.
It's not gonna last. Go ahead.
And it's the same pattern happening with AI. Now everybody's on the internet. We needed to survive. So guys, now is the time. Like things like cryptocurrency. I cannot stress enough cryptocurrency, AI, these different things. Like try to understand it while you're at this point, because trust me, it's gonna be very, very instrumental in the future. Instrumental.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I took a lot of notes on this section. With the COVID-19 piece, I was writing down living 10 years in the future, and I'm going to cycle back to that because I think that's very important. But for Junior, one of the things that I wrote down was Mark Zuckerberg's motto. I don't know if you know it or not, but it's move fast and break things. That's actually in their
Did you say break things?
Yes, break things. That's
Let's
the
go.
model that they had
it.
when they first started the company. And they had it plastered all over the walls, move fast and break things. And then they realized that as they grew as an infrastructure and as a business, that motto didn't work as well. So they changed it to move fast and break things except for the infrastructure. And that's kind of how they changed it. So that was simply to say, because in coding, for those that don't know, you pretty much have like a base code. And sometimes their goal was to have like a hackathon or some kind, which they're really trying to create something that breaks the code. So if they can create something that breaks the code, then they know the code's not strong enough. So their goal was to always be innovating and improving and breaking the code until they got so large and so many people depended on them that they realized if we break the code for more than say 20 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour, then we've disrupted the infrastructure, and that's unacceptable at our level. So I thought that was a great thing for you to perceive and not necessarily know that was actually written on their walls, was to move fast and break things. So they lived up to their morals, values, and principles. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to briefly touch on was the first mover, or being first to the industry, or being the first person. So I love what Peter Thiel says on this. And he talks about last mover advantage. So what I want to talk a little bit about is coaching, executive coaching, because with the Ultimate Brand Challenge kind of being on the banner right now, I think this is going to be an absolutely powerful segue. So first mover advantage means nothing if you don't have last mover advantage. And I'll talk a little bit about this. So in business, those that don't know my background, I am a finance and economics concentration major. So my overarching degree, though, is my field of study is entrepreneurship. So in business, our goal is obviously to make money. So a monopoly is one of the best ways to make money because it is a way to protect profitability and earnings. So when we say last mover advantage, what we're saying is we don't want to necessarily be the first person to do something great. We want to be the last person to benefit from the great thing that was done. Which means if you can be the first mover and you can benefit from the last mover advantage, that's the win-win. But if you're the first person to do it, but someone undercuts you and takes everything that you did, you don't benefit from the last mover advantage, which means that you have to have coaching, in my personal and professional opinion, because coaching is what's going to help you be sustainable through what you're doing. So in Silicon Valley, the way they do it is this. They have, oh man, I don't want to go too long. So I'm going to give y'all the scenic route here. So pretty much startups are so frequent in Silicon Valley that they have teams, like startup teams. So pretty much when a startup says, hey, we're about to start something, they have a team of people that they go to. And soon as that startup gets from one stage to the next stage, all of those people fall off. And then a new group of people come in and they just fall off and come in and fall off and come in.
What got you here won't get you there.
Exactly. What got you here won't get you there. And that's their form. They don't call it coaching though. Like in our space, we call it coaching. They just call it, what do they call it? They call it family stage, village stage, ship stage, nation stage. So that's how they identify with it. So at the family stage, it's like 5 of you guys. At the village stage, it's about 10 to 20. At the ship stage, you guys have a fleet, but you're pirates. They call it the pirate stage. And then when you become a nation, you have a navy and you have to abide by rules and regulations. So the coaching aspect of this and the sustainability aspect of this is that a lot of people have great ideas. A lot of people have experience, expertise, and education. And you can do something great for the first time. But a lot of people don't have the skills and the insights to exercise the endurance necessary to be sustainable. And that's where I think the Ultimate Brand Challenge is a no-brainer. Because if you feel like you hit the market with something hot, if you feel like you are in a niche that is lucrative and you need to sustain yourself long enough to be that last mover and exercise all of the benefits of being the person that said, we started it, we planted the flag here, and now we're known for it. There's no other way to do it, in my professional opinion, than to outlive everyone else that tries to come in on what you've done. So I think that if you are that person, that link is invaluable.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, first off, guys, give Bobby a round of applause, man. Like he is something else, man. He's something else. He really goes deep. He really goes deep. I love that whole family stage, shift stage, pirate stage, and nation stage. You're learning something right now. And you're learning something from people because the people that you're watching are avid readers and learners and studiers and proponents of development. Junior as well, right? No slight to Junior whatsoever. I'm just, Bobby being the early comer, the late comer, the last one to come in, and he's standing so strong that I just, I have to give credit where it's due. So when you give something like a phenomenal session, and each segment that you give, it seems to get better and better and better, and I acknowledge it and I see it, right? So I just want to, how people say, give you your flowers now. Give you your flowers now. That's just the way I think about things, Guys, we do the same thing for everybody, right? So being a futurist, literally being a futurist, a lot of times we think down the block and around the corner for people. So when they come in, they might not see down the block and around the corner. But I can, and Junior can, because we've been here before and we've done this before with different people. So we're able to take your education, experience, and expertise and speak to how you leverage your leadership and said education, experience, and expertise and translate it and transfer it and transform it into impact, income, and independence. This is one of my many missions and purposes for existence. And I believe that 1000%. That's why I'm completely sold on what my duty here is, right? You have to be completely sold on what your duty here is. And if you're not completely sold, if you're not getting up early, running or out the bed, if you're hitting the snooze alarm, then you're not sold yet. You're not committed yet. You haven't found it yet, right? So Bobby said something about breaking the code. I want you to think during this break, what can you break the code in? What code can you break? Like, what can you be the first one at, the first one to do? Like Junior said, how can you leverage your speaking, your coaching, your consulting, and make it unique? Because nobody wants a carbon copy. There's something to be said for the first one off the lot. There's really something to be said for the first one off the lot. The first one is minted. It's vintage. The first costs so much more than the second and the third. As a matter of fact, we have a saying in competition that second place is first loser. And there is no other option than first. And I know Jack Welch said that if we can't be number one and literally number two, if we can't be number one or number two in a vertical, scrap everything. I don't care how much money was spent. Stop losing it. If you're trying to be number three, you're losing money. You're wasting time because nobody remembers number three. And people barely remember number two. The only way you're going to be remembered is by being number one. So what can you break the code at What can you differentiate? What can you use to separate yourself, and how can you specialize in something new? Specialize in novelty. Specialize in novelty. What does that look like, and how can you do it? It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
All right, guys, we're back. I think Sean has taken a short break. But Bobby, man, that was absolutely amazing. I took a lot of notes from what you just said, and I wrote down Peter Thiel. Is that book 0 to 1? Is that where that quote came from?
No, but Peter Thiel did write 0 to 1. That quote or the stages, those came from, Jeff. Oh my goodness. I can't think of the book. I've read so many of them, but I can see the person. Reid Hoffman. That's the author. Reid Hoffman wrote the book. Let me type it in here, because it is a really good one that blitz scaling. That's where it came from. Blitz Scaling by Reid Hoffman.
Wow. Blitz scaling.
Yeah.
All right, guys, definitely write that down. I know I'm taking notes because I'm definitely going to read that book, Blitz Scaling. And, you know, while we're talking about blitz scaling, what came to mind is something that I learned, Bobby, a couple years ago. What you cannot do on a small scale, what you cannot do on a large scale, you probably shouldn't do it on a small scale when it comes to business. So if you guys check this out, scalability is the best ability, since we're talking about blitz scaling. So what cannot be done on a large scale, you probably shouldn't do it on a small scale. Bobby, what do you say about that? Because you're in the space of helping business owners scale as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Hold on, before you answer,
yes.
Tell us about some of the things that you see business owners doing on a large scale, quote unquote large scale, that cannot really be sustainable on a small scale, especially when it comes to the way that they spend money.
Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that I'm hearing the question right. Are you asking me tell the people something that I've seen that people are doing on a small scale that's not sustainable on a large scale? Or are you asking me to tell about things that I see people doing on a large scale that they shouldn't have even thought about doing on a small scale?
The first one.
Okay, sounds good. So what I think I see the most people doing on a small scale that just doesn't work on a large scale is projects. They have a disproportionate focus. How can I say this? Because I don't want to confuse anyone. Think about it like this. The amount of projects that you do, each project requires resources. So what I see a lot of people doing on the low side of things, on the small end, is running like 6 projects at one time. So when you don't have any money really coming in or going out from any one project, substantial amounts of money, you can tell yourself, hey, I'm going to start this nonprofit over here. I'm going to roll this service out over there. I'm going to do this on Mondays and this on Saturdays. And it's like they have all of these different ideas. But the reality is you can only really allocate resources effectively to one thing. So if you try to do a million things on a small scale, and then you try to do a million things on a large scale, what you'll realize is that the financial resources necessary to launch any one thing effectively is just monumental. And you are not really going to be as successful as you think. So to tie that thought up, a lot of people think that if they can just do as many things as possible to generate revenue, that they'll have 7, 8, 9 streams of revenue. But the reality is it takes money truly to make money. And it also takes time and energy. So what they're really doing is decentralizing and diversifying their resources, and their resources are best used concentrated.
So basically, they're just doing too much. That's what you're saying.
Basically.
So check this out. So all right. So here's what I understood. Here's sort of what I wrote down. So it's true that if you have 7, let's say 7 different streams of revenue, potentially they could produce seven times the money, right?
Sure, they potentially.
So in theory, we could do 7 things, but in reality, attacking those 7 things doesn't mean 7 times the money. That's what I did.
Yes.
But it means 7 times the expenses.
And so here's the thing. You want to also have what we call economies. So you have economies of scale and you have economies of scope. And these economies really is a fancy way of saying optimizing resource allocation and use. So without going too deep, you can have all of these different streams of income and you can have them all serving you profitably, but it has to make economic sense. So that's the one piece I wanted to share there.
All right. Sean, are you back? Okay. All right, guys. So Sean will be coming back in a minute. All right, guys. So guys, if you have any questions about what we just spoke about, go ahead and put them in the comments as well. Bobby, let's talk about the brand challenge. So you were on yesterday, right?
I was. It was amazing.
Tell us about your experience. What did you see? What was your experience? Because you sort of have a different lens, right? So you're looking at this from 3 different perspectives. You're looking at it from the perspective of you being a teacher yourself, right? So you making your own presentations, you being a client, but also you being, just somebody else in the crowd. So tell us, like, from your different lenses, what did you notice? What were some of the most powerful takeaways? And what do you look forward to today on day 2 of the challenge?
Man, I wish I had my notepad. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to try to go from memory because I was watching, like you said, so many different things. So from a teacher myself perspective, I'll just talk about the presentation first. So the presentation was flawless. It was flawless. And I say that because as I was watching it, every image spoke to the content. Every word was something you could hold on to. And as we walk through the whole branding and how to identify the monetization aspect of your business, I just saw money, 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 money. So that part was really exciting because it's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to learn it. But when you can see yourself exercising the things you're learning and making money from it, that's a really exciting experience. So that's kind of what it was like from being a teacher myself. Like I was like, okay, I want to adopt that for myself, or I want to be able to do that. From a client standpoint, it was extraordinary because it let me see the types of people that come into the community. So those that know that we've been doing Breakfast with the Brand for like years now, I believe 2 years plus, we've been doing all kinds of things even before I was even here. And it's exciting to see the caliber of people that continue to come into the challenge. So that was something that was exciting to see as a student. Is like, wow, I could be engaging with this doctor in the next 6 months or so if they decide to come in. Or, hey, this engineer is a phenomenal individual. I remember one time a guy came in and they were in the 30 under 30. And when they came in and we met them, we were doing the whole thing. I think it was Forbes. Forbes is 30 under 30 and he got nominated. And I was like, yo, that's incredible. And those are the types of people that come into the organization all the time. So that's what it felt like from a client's perspective. Is like when you talk about networking, I mean, I have met some incredible people. But as a student, some of the things that I was learning yesterday was about your offer. That was the thing. And I don't have my notes with me right now, but there was something that stuck out tremendously. And it was about making sure your offer is you. Brand you, not what you do is the theme. You guys have heard it a million times, but I don't think we understand how to make our offer an extension of ourselves. But when you go through the brand challenge and you really think through being bold and you think through remote teams and you think through authenticity marketing and all the different things, what you end up realizing, especially name and likeness and all of those different things, all the way down to domination, what you'll realize is that your business, your brand is nothing more than an extension of you, which makes you very, very important. So if you are, say, lackadaisical, or you are not as aggressive as you need to be, or you don't know enough about business to be in business, then you and your brand, because you are the brand, will suffer. So I just thought it was an overall amazing experience for me. Thanks, Junior.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, more on the brand challenge. Stay tuned.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
All right, guys. Pardon the absence, guys, but I had to step away and handle some business. We do have the brand challenge coming, so I had to handle something on that side. And let me tell you, I am excited for today. I am very excited for today. Yesterday, we did business media and showing the differentiation between social media and business media and why some people are posting cakes, cats, kids, cars, candy, and airplane windows, and other people are making millions of dollars on the exact same medium. That's something, isn't it? On the exact same medium. Some people are complaining about how bad their life is, and other people are making millions of dollars. Some people are saying, help me. You know, like GoFundMe is like, it's really bad. It can be really, really bad. And then for other people, it's heaven. So literally you see the contrast of heaven and Hades all in one place, all in one platform. And I want for you what I want for myself. So I'm showing you how to leverage not social media, but business media so you can be on the right side of it. And then today we're talking about remote teams, and remote teams is how we built the business. We built the business online out of the office in a time when the world was shut down. So it's not like we could have the office option if we chose to. There was no hybrid. It was all remote. And if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have office space and you don't know how to manage teams and you don't know what it looks like to leverage resources and human resources and what the people, the soft skills, like what the people process is, you're toast before you even begin. If you don't know how to attract, convert clients and then begin to attract and convert people into believing in your vision and believing in your dream enough to come work with you, not for you, then you're only going to go as far as yourself. So you've only got 24 hours in a day, and hopefully you sleep 8 of those. So that gives you 16 hours. If you have 2 people, that gives you 32 hours. If you got 3 people, that gives you 24 hours. So people always ask me, Sean, is there, how can you do so much? And it's because I master time, but I also work with a lot of people who help me to master time. So when it seems like we're everywhere, we are, but it's not me doing all of the work. A lot of you guys are overworking yourself, and you need to begin to leverage remote teams. What we're also going to go over today in the brand challenge is authenticity marketing. So people always say, Sean, how did you do it without a funnel? How did you do it without ads? How did you do it without the email list? How did you do it without the megawatt 50,000 budget in ad spend and Google ads and, YouTube ads? And I said, there's championship in change. There's championship in change. When you present, just think about Obama and how change was his entire campaign. His campaign for change changed the world. Not only did his campaign for change, but the fact that he was literally a change agent in every sense of the word. When you're authentic, you're different. You don't have to search for your differentiation when you can truly be yourself. It markets itself. It catches wildfire. And it moves throughout the people, and it goes from one to another, to another, to another. And this is how we were able to scale so fast. If people wonder, how did we do multiple six figures in less than 90 days? We did it because word of mouth is the most powerful vehicle that you'll ever have. And people respect authenticity. They may not like it, but they will respect it. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking to be liked, I promise you, because likes don't pay. Likes don't buy. Respect for your authenticity and being integral and having integrity is what you're looking for. You're looking to be recognized as a leader and an authentic resource in your vertical. Unapologetic and original. I promise you, like, authenticity marketing is something we stumbled upon, didn't know what it was. Nobody was talking about it. It wasn't something we could read in a book or learn about. It was something that we developed as we moved forward and realized, oh, they're acting this way because. You understand? We had to put ourselves under the microscope. We had to put our own campaign and authenticity under the microscope to find out what it really was. And the components that, how did we do it? The components are business, media, remote teams, authenticity, marketing, name, image, and likeness, and delegation. And name, image, and likeness and delegation is tomorrow. Today, we're going to handle remote teams and authenticity marketing. It is the key to success.
100%. Sean, is it possible to drop that link somewhere in the chat?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. So that's the link right there. We'll see you on Zoom in, I think, 1 minute. I think it's already 9. It's already 9, Sean. So, guys,
yeah. Let's go. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. You know,
on the other side. Definitely.
All right. See you guys in a few minutes. What you're looking at right now is the new face of leadership. I chose to go the route of SOE, standards of excellence. So I help people put zeros behind their numbers. I help people move up in or out of their organization and get paid their annual income monthly, their monthly income weekly, and their weekly income daily. I promise you, if you follow me at all, you're gonna wanna use something to write with. CSA first, CSA. Clarify, simplify, and amplify. Clarify, simplify, and amplify. It starts with the decision. Who do you wanna be and what do you wanna do? Who do you wanna be? You have to define that. If you don't know, then it's vague and it'll never be clear. The problem that we have is clarity. We walk into an organization happy to be there, happy that they accepted us, but we don't have a clear goal. That's why people stay in the same organization year after year after year, go to the same vacation spots with the same people and talk the same amount of nonsense around the same water cooler. So when I go into an organization and someone says they've been here for 20 years and they're still around $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, I'm like, ooh, it's chilly. It's a little bit cold when I know that all it takes for you to raise your prices, whether it's inside or outside of an organization, is self-belief and dedication. Brand you and not what you do. So when I meet people, I ask people, tell me a little bit about yourself, and they immediately tell me what they do. That's not who you are. Branding is who you are. Marketing is how people find out about you. So when you say, I'm a photographer, you just lumped yourself in with a million other photographers. What's special about you? Why should I work with you? I don't need a hand with a camera. I need a man with a story, a woman with a goal, a vision, someone with an idea of where they want to, what they want to be and who they want to impact in their lives. That's what moves me. We know where we belong, whether we're in that seat or not. We heard the word legacy and we were pulled to come. I flew in last minute. Let's go. Leadership, legacy, love. Whew, I gotta be there. So what happens in marketing is when you say, I am you put yourself in what we call a red sea. You're now fighting against a million competitors with a million different things. Clarify, who are you? What do you stand for?
and then simplify it. Don't make it 10 things. Bruce Lee said, I do not fear the man who has thrown 10,000 kicks. He says, I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. You can have the most mouth-watering steak that the world has ever seen, but if you try to position it or place it in a vegan neighborhood, you make no money. Who are you trying to market to? Sometimes we don't support each other. Sometimes you got to go outside of your community, outside of your neighborhood, outside of your phone book to find someone who will support you. So if your business is hurting, think about the place that you're trying to move, whatever it is that you're moving, and the people that you're trying to sell to. You want to become the OVO. The OVO is the only viable option in your vertical. The only viable option in your vertical. We're not here for competition. We're here for domination. We're here for domination. Period. And if you feel differently, you're probably in the wrong room. Is anybody ready for the fifth one? Are you ready for the fifth one? Might want to capture this. Might want to capture this. For God's sakes, man, your prices. Your prices. We should stand out because of price. Some people look for the lowest price. You're making a big mistake because you're defining yourself. Your success comes from mindset and perception. If you're competing over the lowest price, there's a problem. Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands. Train people. I'm going to leave you with this. We train people how to treat us when we meet us based on how we treat ourselves. Brand you and not what you do. Thank you.